So we've been over all the theory of a fillet weld. Today we're gonna run some demos. My name is Dusty and I'm a welding artist from Vancouver Island, and I've been TIG welding in the industry for almost 20 years now. My YouTube channel is for the positive people in the welding community who love TIG welding as much as I do. This is for the beginners, people looking to up their game on the torch, or just anyone who's interested in learning about TIG welding in a fun, negativity-free environment. So join me on my mission on my channel and let's get welding. This is Pacific Arc TIG Welding. Hey ArcHeads, welcome to another episode. Thank you for joining me. Today is part 2 of the fillet weld episodes. If you have not seen part 1, go back and watch it. It's in the description below. This one goes over a lot of really important stuff that we broke down before we actually even turn the machine on. So today, now that we've been over all the theory stuff, basic fundamentals of body posture and all that important stuff, I know you watched it, right? If you have, let's go ahead, fire up the machine and get into welding one here. Okay, so for a machine setup here, we're basically gonna have things very simple. We're obviously set on alternating current. On the Everlast 255 EXT, I'm going to be using the advanced square AC setting. For settings, we're gonna do a quick blast of pre-flow just to clear the weld area before I start up. For start amps, I'm gonna be at the most minimal setting I can use. I'm not gonna be using any upslope simply because I am using a foot pedal. Now for welding amperage, this is what I'm gonna be set to. It'll be roughly about 180 amps. Again, I'm going to be using a foot pedal, so 180 amps is just what I have on the panel. I will dictate how much of that 180 amps I use with my foot pedal. For frequency, I'm going to be set at 120 Hertz. For my AC balance, I personally prefer to have a setup somewhere around 30% positive. Now for downslope, again, not going to be using any downslope because I'm using a foot pedal. And again, I'm going to be set for minimal end amps. Now the most important one for this setting personally is the post flow. I'm going to be running a little extra post flow because I'll be welding quite hot, so I'll have it set to about 5.5 seconds. And that should be good. For this demonstration, I'm going to be using 3/16 inch plate or 4.6 millimeters. I'm going to clean it with some acetone because it's kind of dirty. But once it is clean, I'm going to be tacking it in place like so. And then we'll go ahead with a tacking exercise to make sure everything is put together properly. I'm just using these as temporary tacks to hold it in place. I'll be putting more thorough tacks in place, so I want to keep these ones as small as possible. A quick little tweak to adjust it to square, and I'm happy with this one. Okay, so now that it is tacked up, the problem with getting going as it is right now is that if you were to start with a weld right where we have tacked, you are most likely going to melt and break the tack on the end. Instead of starting from the tack that we have existing here already, and we're basically going to use it as an excuse to simulate and practice another start. So we're going to do one of these tacks right at the leading edge of this joint here, and we're going to do another one at the end here as well. These will all basically be done in 1-2 steps. So the first step is going to simulate a proper start. We're going to get a proper blend with that one, and then move it one step and extinguish like so. So when we have our start to begin with, so the first step will be just in front of this one here, so we won't actually melt this existing tack. We will do one dab right at the beginning. This will simulate a start. Once we watch the puddle blend and wed properly with the base material, we will move it one step over, do another dab, and then extinguish there. This is basically going to be the area that we start from. So instead of melting this stuff on the end and possibly causing the joint to shift from where we have tacked it originally, we're going to be starting from the inside. This will also help with overheating. We'll be doing the same at the end. Having a little bit of extra material at the end is also going to act as a bit of a heat catch. So let's go ahead and tack this up a little better. So you remember this from the previous episode. This is going to be a jig that will hold our piece in a 45-degree angle. This is going to be much easier to work on if you're first learning this one, as opposed to learning it in the 90-degree position. So I'm going to position it in my jig like so, and I'm going to tack it up a little better now. All right, let's take a look at it. So one thing we're going to notice is we didn't totally melt the tack that was existing at the start. We kind of started with our first dab near the end, but then we moved in a little bit. So now when we actually start our pass, we're going to be starting our pass right here. Sometimes if you start your pass too close to the end, like I said, you can pop the tack. and you will shift the joint that you took all the time to get perfect. Now looking at the end here, you can see I made this tack a little bit bigger. The reason I did so is because we are going to be screaming hot by the time we get to the end. So again, as you can see, I didn't touch the existing tack that was already there. We started with our first dab, which I kept relatively small, and then moved to the end and made a bit of a bigger one. It's going to act as a bit of a heat catch when we get to the end. So when I'm getting ready to do this joint, again, I'm going to make sure my mid forearm is attached to the end of the table like so. I'm not going to be resting my hand or my wrist against the table, because if my hand is attached to the table, this is going to restrict our movement. I've talked about this a ton on my channel before. We're going to want to be doing about mid forearm as far as where we are anchored to our table. Now we can freely travel as far as we want without losing discomfort. We won't have anything holding us up, especially if we catch anything on the edge of the table. My torch angle is going to be centered as well as possible in between this joint, simply because now we are on a 45-degree angle, so we have equal amount of gravity on either side of the joint. So recalling the important things that I talked about in the last lesson. The first thing is that we are now able to see more clearly. Instead of trying to perform the joint in a 90-degree position, which is notoriously difficult to see, because we are first learning, we have it positioned in the 45-degree angle instead. This way we're just going to get set up comfortable with our torch angle roughly centered. This way we eliminate a high side and a low side. Now that we have either side affected by gravity the same amount, we're going to have our filler rod roughly 90 degrees to our travel angle. And one of the most important things that I talked about in that previous episode was having things tacked together properly. Look at this tack here. This tack is exactly the size as far as leg length that we want the actual weld to be. Each side is equal length as far as leg length goes. It's relatively centered. We don't want to overfill this joint. At the same time, we don't want to underfill. So the tack that I've got here represents what we want pretty well. We don't have any awkward shapes or anything strange that we have to go over or deal with. We also have it properly bolstered at the end, so we're not going to pop the original tack when we go to start our actual weld. Now, the first thing you'll notice is how long I'm taking to let the puddle fully blend into the base material and take the size and profile that I want. I give it some filler and I wait. It's always what I mean by when I say fill and chill. Now that things are heated up and my edges are blending out to the width and profile that I want, now I'm fully ready to move. I'll be paying close attention to my stepping distance and keeping it consistent for the full length of the pass. You can see how much filler I'm giving it. I'm careful not to overfill the joint. One thing you can keep a close eye on when it's in the 45-degree position is seeing how consistent your leg lengths are. Making sure that things stay centered. You can see how I add a little bit of extra filler at the end. This prevents overheating at the end of the pass. So overall, I'm pretty stoked on this one. As you can see, the puddle shape is relatively round, and that's what we want. We don't want anything oblong, or we don't want any arrowheading of our puddles. The spacing of our puddles are all relatively tight, which is good. We don't want anything too far apart, or we're going to form empty pockets in the middle of your pass. Looking at things from the end here, everything turned out relatively straight for the most part. Here we see that our start was pretty much consistent with the width that we finished with. So one of the main things that I see the most when teaching this one is people have a start that is relatively cold, and then it starts to heat up as they go on. So my goal here was to have a start that was relatively hot, took the shape I wanted it to right away, and then continued on for the length of it. All of our puddles look relatively round. We don't see any puddles that have any erratic long shape or arrowheading, as it's called when it gets a little bit too hot. And looking at it from the end here, we see that our leg length is pretty consistent. We have the same amount of leg length on the bottom or one side as we do as the other. There's a few things here and there I would change. Overall, it's a pretty good pass. I'm happy with that one. So, you ready to go out and try that one for yourself? This one's a lot of fun. It's difficult, but if you go over all of the details that I've gone over in these last 2 episodes, it's gonna help you out a lot. I genuinely wish I saw some episode like this before I got started with learning it. So again, if you have not seen episode number 1, go back and watch this one. Like I said, this one goes over all the important stuff with posture, how to position it on your table, all that stuff. Is there any joints that you would like to see me attempt? Leave it in the comment below. I've got a lot on my channel so far, but I'm always down to either redo some even better or do different variations of it. So let me know in the comments below. I'll try and crack one off for you. So like we started a couple episodes ago, if you are a true arcade who watches the show every week, leave a dime in the comments below, write something nice, and most importantly, go out today and do a random act of kindness for a stranger. It's the only thing I ask for in return for anything you may have learned here today, so do your part. For Pacific Arc TIG Welding, my name is Dusty. Phil and Chill, we'll talk soon. Peace.